Hello everybody and welcome to what I guess is the start of my OSBERTON prep vlog, which is a little bit scary, a little bit exciting. Exactly 1 week today I go down the centre line and start my dressage test, my second ever 2-star long, trying to maybe right the demons of last year at OSBERTON where we had that frustrating 20 penalties. Who knows, it could happen, it could not happen. These things are tough, but we're ready to give a crack at another 2-star, and Cornbury, the 2-star short we just did, was certainly a really positive kind of stepping stone. It now feels achievable and attainable that we can go out there and maybe give it our best shot. We'll have to see. A lot's on the line. However, a week before we go, a week before we start the 5 days of stay away show action, which is going to be very exciting and obviously in its own separate vlog. And there is quite a lot of prep that needs to be done to maximise our chances of success. Now, my gilet may give away what the plan is for today, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit more in detail at some point about what OSBERTON comprises of. Oh, Atty's off. However, if you did get a glimpse of him, you will see he's rather fluffy. And OSBERTON is not just a normal cross-country course, it is going to be 7.5 minutes of cantering. Excuse me? You licking my elbow? It's going to be... Thanks for that, mate. 7.5 minutes of cantering. So fluff, any excess fluff is not ideal. So we're going to start this vlog off with what could be rather scary. It's going to be my first time solo clipping. Mum is going to come out and help, but she doesn't know how to clip, so she's just going to be holding. Whereas I have never clipped totally alone without any guidance before. As you guys may be aware, I picked up a sponsorship with Lister last year and I have been loving using their clippers, but I'm such a nervous clipper, like I'm so worried I'm going to do something wrong. So yes, this could be entertaining. Here is the before picture. Getting a little bit fluffy, so we're going to get rid of some of that. Good morning, people. We are in the lorry, bright and breezy today, and we are off to a show jumping lesson, which I'm really excited about ahead of OSBERTON. So I don't know when the last time I had a jumping lesson with Atty was. Probably actually over Easter. Quite a lot of my lessons recently have been focused on star, so I think it's really important that ahead of jumping, big technical tracks, I go and have a tune-up that's Atty specific. And I'm having my session with Kylie Roddy, who you may have seen in a few of my vlogs recently. I've been having some flat work lessons with her with star. I saw her a few times, I think with both boys over Easter. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we get up to. I realised that I didn't show you the finished product of the clip yesterday. Partly intentional, partly not. I feel like you're your own worst critic, aren't you? So clipped and was unimpressed by it. However, looking at it this morning, it's not awful, and maybe it's just had 20, like not even 24 hours, 16 hours to just to cure. So I hope that you'll get a glimpse of that when I'm on in my lesson and be nice. My first full clip done, dusted. Things only get better from here. Who's come to say hello? You are sweet, aren't you? Pretty. Right, that is the last of the cat footage, I promise. You missed most of my warm-up because Mum enjoyed filming the cat so much, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this session, not in too much detail because I just recorded a voiceover and I went to listen to it back and it was the most monotone, drab thing I've ever heard, and I thought I cannot possibly make you sit through this. So I'm going to do some short, sharp kind of interjections of my thoughts because I wasn't very happy with this session. Obviously not the teaching was brilliant, and you can see even here we're doing some useful exercises which I'll touch on in a moment, but I got in my own head a bit and didn't ride very well. So this exercise was really useful as a warm-up exercise to kind of stress the importance of landing on the right leg and that basic education that sometimes I don't focus on enough. We started by jumping the individual barrels and landing on the right leg, and then we added in a second fence so that you could feel the effects of what happens if you didn't land on the correct leg. And then in a minute you'll see we go on and do the full on S-bend with all 3 jumps. Let's chat briefly about my riding before we put it to bed and move on, but some context for this session I think is really useful is that Atty had been to the Gallops 48 hours before the session. He had had a very intense interval training session to get fit for OSBERTON because he will be cantering for 8 minutes on cross country day, and then the following day he'd been on a really long hilly hack, about an hour and a half, lots of trotting and cantering. It was with Star, getting Star ready for his roads and tracks. So neither of those things in isolation should or did tire him out, in my opinion. This session was then 8:30 the following morning off the back of both of those days. As a result, he just felt 10% off where I wanted him to be, less responsive, less maybe kind of keen. And we had a few more moments like that than we normally would, where, he didn't get me out of trouble. Now, he definitely doesn't owe me getting me out of trouble, but when you're used to a horse kind of maybe being a little bit more judging the distances himself, and they don't, I guess my instinct was just to back off and do exactly what I used to do and add like I did there, hold, add. And I was just getting in my own head a little bit. I mean, very bad timing. If you've seen my Cornbury vlog or my Thoughts Out Cross Country vlog from the 2-star at Cornbury, I've actually been riding very forwardly recently and been very pleased with it. So yeah, this was a disappointing session in that sense, but at least I had Kylie there to kind of really help snap me out of it, really remind me and keep drumming into me, your reins are too short, you need to be more positive, don't add, he doesn't need that. And I left the session feeling, I'd say, not amazing, but being reminded of how much better he jumps when he's going forward, and I don't just mask my nerves with speed like I did in that little clip there. And we have another jump session later in the vlog, which I feel like I get the chance to kind of put aka 3 days before the start of OSBERTON, and I feel like I can define biting off more than one can chew. I'm currently sat in my car. This is what I have behind me. All of my uni stuff, because I am moving back to uni today. Mum left about 10 minutes ago with horses, so I need to go and catch her up. And it's quite a lot. I've got to get myself settled, I've got to get the horses settled and ready for lectures, because I start lectures the day that OSBERTON finishes. What else? Star is obviously T-minus 3 weeks off his 3-day 90 at Victon, so his fitness cannot afford to take like any sort of hit whilst I'm away, so I'm going to be driving back to ride him, and Atty obviously needs to be prepared, so quite a lot. We're going to head to the Gallops tomorrow as well with Rochelle and have a little jump on Tuesday before we go, but that's where I'm currently at, feeling a little stressed, but hopefully we can keep everything under control. Everybody, it is the day before OSBERTON, so it's a bit of a busy one, but as a little bit of a catch up, because I haven't really chatted that much in the last couple of days. You'll have seen I moved up, you'll have hopefully seen a little bit of like a TikTok or a reel of the move-in day. I thought I won't vlog the whole thing, it's just a lot of driving and you're probably bored of it, and there's so many vlogs that I have to get out right now that I just thought it's easier not to. Yesterday, Atty had his final fitness session ahead of leaving. It was not super intense because it's only 5 or 6 days until he goes cross country, so not super intense, but I did get a few videos which I will pop over me speaking now. It's not enough for its own separate montage. And then I've just arrived up at the yard today with a very busy afternoon ahead of me, because I want to have a final ride on Atty in which I'm going to run through at least some of our dressage test, maybe the whole thing, and hopefully pop down a grid just a couple of times to finish off, to maybe leave it in a bit of a more positive mindset in terms of jumping ahead of heading to OSBERTON. I need to pack the entire lorry, and I'm also going to get Atty platted because our trot up is at 8 AM tomorrow. 8 AM. So we're going to be leaving the yard very early, and I have to get all the way from my house near uni to the yard, so might save myself like a 3 AM start and give myself an extra hour in bed to make it 4 AM by plaiting Atty up tonight. That is the plan, so come along. Here is a brief overview of exactly what we set up for Atty. The aim was to be totally comfortable and confidence-giving. It was, 24 hours before we left for OSBERTON, less than that. So it was a triple, just one stride, and then another one stride with V-poles. You guys will know I'm a big fan of V-poles with Atty the day before a competition, as it just gets him jumping up a little bit more. This is what we set up, and I will cue some footage of him jumping. Hopefully this is the perfect exercise for a final jump ahead of OSBERTON. Right, blind reaction to two things: Rochelle's first time using the camera and my jumping, which off the bat, that was ugly. I have to say, he felt so keen. He was literally pulling my arms out. He was so excited. It was his first time back in the arena at Loughborough, and the first few jumps down the line were ugly. However, when the jumps went up, he started backing himself off a bit more, which was a good sign, so I think this was probably a little bit better. He was loving life, really, and actually I was letting him love life, unlike in the lesson earlier in the week. I think this was the last time we popped down it, so let's see, but on the whole was pretty pleased with the session because he felt like he was really loving it.
He just feels like he's really trying.
And then just like that, that was it. It was on to packing the lorry, getting ready for 5 days of stay away show excitement. I am very worried that I've forgotten something as I sit here and report to you the night before we leave. He's actually enjoying his dinner, and yeah, that's me out for now. It's getting dark, so I'm going to wrap up this vlog very quickly, but it's 7:30 the night before OSBERTON. I will be back on the yard in something like 7 or 8 hours time, not very long at all, but we are ready. We are organised, the lorry is hopefully packed, and I thought our last jump session, it was very brief, but I thought it went quite well. So yeah, fingers crossed. Stay tuned for the OSBERTON vlog. Nerves are real, and I'll see you soon. Bye!